Scott Dement, lead pastor of Christ Community Church in Olathe, Kansas, believed he would not fulfill his pastoral duty unless he developed a leader who could plant a new church. Enter Brian Timmer, an artist and Nazarene Seminary graduate who uses art as a way to point people to Jesus. A prominent writer, Madeleine L'Engle, once said that the goal of the Christian artist is to make us aware of our status as God's children and turn our feet toward home. In this video, you'll see how Brian shares the good news of Jesus in a university town and helps unreached prodigals journey home to a loving God.
3 years ago, I was interviewing different students for a pastor. When I met Brian Timmer, he was a guy who obviously had a passion for people that didn't know Jesus. But because he was an art student, he went about it in ways that were new to me and had ideas that were also new. And I just knew as somebody that I wanted to learn from. When we interviewed with Brian, I told him, I said, Brian, if you're here longer than 3 to 5 years, then I will not have done my job in preparing our church and preparing you to be the pastor of a new church. It really is our goal for us to start a church with you. One of the things about Christ Community Church is that we've always been people who want to explore the limits of what God's doing and the ridge where He is at. And we believe that starting new churches is a way that helps us to do it. It helps us to stay fresh and to be about what God's doing new in the world.
Brian Timmer approached us about the new church, and one of the things that really caught my attention was his passion for the Prodigal. And what was really neat to see is God has been preparing him this whole time in his degree. He has an art degree, and so seeing that degree being put to work in ministry was just something that was very inspiring and something we felt we needed to support.
Christ Community, you know, this is really just, it's a great opportunity to work with them because it's a different context again over there for them as far as understanding this community that I'm in over here in Lawrence. It's a very artistic kind of right-brained world, and so for them to say, hey, you know what, we don't see everything the same way and we don't have the same type of people around us, but we believe in what you're doing and we want to support it. And so I just think it's a great example of a church that's willing to extend itself for the greater work of the kingdom.
Jesus used parables, and He used language that communicated to the people that He was with. It's one of the beautiful things we love about Him, is He's able to speak right into people's lives, right where they're at. We believe that the church is still contextual. And so Christ Community has a certain style and a certain method. Same message as Prodigal Church. It just looks different in a suburban community outside of Kansas City than it does in a university town over in Lawrence.
So I think what makes this community unique is that we're focusing specifically on how we can connect with our neighbors in a really natural, relational way. So we have these events where we come together on Sundays to be the community, the church, the body, and this communal aspect with God and with one another, where we see more of the traditional elements of church, teaching, worship, communion, but we're also focusing on this inclusive kind of segment where we just do things with the community that will bless them, that they will embrace. We're asking, what does this group of people view as good news? What would they just embrace? And so we really want to do things that they would enjoy and would bless them, just to build relationships.
It's been so exciting to see how the Lord is using him to reach that culture, because he is the perfect person to be reaching that community. And it's so encouraging to hear his updates and the stories of what's happening and how they're growing into deeper relationships and how they're working with other churches and how they're starting new things, and just the way that God is moving there is so exciting to see.
It is so easy for us in the church to get stuck in just the way that we do things and the way that we see the world. And we were trying to discover, how can we really have people who are bringing back to us the new ways that God's working, and in a new culture and in a different generation. And we wanted to experience that firsthand. And Brian's ministry in Lawrence is a way for us to receive that learning back. And so every month I get to meet with him and learn from him and communicate that with the church so that we have compelling new ways and new thoughts from someone that we trust about what it means for us to engage our world here that's changing even though we naturally resist change.